stuff, and you can use items. That's it. That's all you can do. Can't shoot any of them. Can't, hit them or anything. Can't punch them. You just gotta get away from everything.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes this
You
game
can
super
open and
terrifying.
close doors. There's a lot of doors in the world, and you can open and close it.
Yep, so that's it. And so I personally really enjoy playing things on Steam that are not Steam games because you get this like controller configuration thing. It's like a Steam native. You can connect a controller and then just like map a bunch of keyboard and mouse controls to it. And then it just kind of works with whatever non-Steam game you decide to play. It's just really smooth. So this is the layout that I had for my controller. I could
Why'd you have console on Y but quick save on start?
I never used the console. I also used a PS4 controller that was kind of matched to Xbox, so this is confusing. I just kind of like put them into place, and I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna press.
And this game is only available on Windows,
Yes.
I believe. And so I downloaded it from, I guess, the SCP Containment Breach website, but can you also download it directly from Steam?
From the website, no. So Steam allows you to play non-Steam games, just like an executable file.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you play the big picture mode, you get the overlay. And part of the overlay is where you can map the controller.
Oh, so you can map the controller to it. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just really nice. But no, it's not a Steam game per se. Alright, so I'm just going to go through all the SCPs that I encountered.
Should we say what SCP? Does everyone know? Everyone know what SCP is?
Who doesn't know what an SCP is?
So maybe explain what SCP means first. So
Yeah.
SCP is secure, contain, and protect.
Yeah.
And so the idea is like there's like this Men in Black kind of pseudo-government organization that collects these like almost alien artifacts that have different properties. Some are very dangerous to humans, some are more benign. And their job is to secure these weird artifacts and then contain them in some sort of facility and then to protect humanity from these things.
Yeah.
And each of the SBC has like a number. So this one's like 173. They're all uniquely identified with a different number. And they, in the fan fiction, or the fiction, which we'll look at later, you'll see how they document them. But these are the different types of SCPs in this specific game.
Another aspect of this game is that it's random. So every time you play it, you get a different map and you get a different, SCPs that you're going to encounter in different order. I think you probably encounter them all if you like beat the game, which surprisingly very few people ever do. But so if you start all the way over, you can just like play a completely different game than what you played before. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah. And this guy here, the statue.
So if I ran into these SCPs, probably not everyone did.
But this is I think everyone sees this one though. This is like the first one, kind of the opening sequence.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the statue.
He's the main antagonist.
He looks real cute, don't you agree? He's the main antagonist. I ran into him personally like 3 times, I think.
Really?
He seems to like follow you around as you play the game and just frighten you until you.
I felt like I was seeing this guy all the time. Maybe I was getting murdered by him again.
Maybe. So the way he works is you must maintain eye contact for him to stand still. And if you ever blink or look away, he will rapidly move towards you, and then if he touches you, he'll kill you on contact. So I read in the document that you get about this SCP that the way they would test it is they would have 3 people go into this chamber, and one person at least must maintain eye contact with it at all times. And so if you're going to blink, you have to announce, "I'm blinking," and then blink. And then you have to just take turns blinking as you look at it. But in this case, you're alone. There's no one around you to blink with you in tandem. So the way that I personally would get away from this monster is I would see it in a room, I would shut the door, I would be close to the door, or I'd find the nearest door and I would shut it. And I would wait for my blink bar to go all the way down, and then it would refresh, and I would open the door, I would look at it, I would kind of turn as I looked at it, and then I would back away from it to the next door, and then I would shut that door, and then it would just stuck there because I don't think it can open doors.
Yeah, so this character, the 173, is basically like a concrete statue.
Made of concrete and rebar.
Yeah.
And he has a spray painted face.
He almost feels like he's like just the product of some construction site that got like somebody poured some concrete and some rebar sat in there, and then he's got like this bloody weird stain on his face.
Bloody feces secretion. So that's this guy. And then, so this is part of like the fiction of the game that I found, which I thought was ridiculous, is that they have these joke SCPs, which are posted with a J, like 173J, is also the statue. Not officially in the game, but is officially an SCP. I think that maybe this is like the origin of 173, like it used to be harmless, but now it's like completely hostile. So what I read is that, so it's the same, makeup of the SCP-173, concrete rebar, spray painted face, and it also has like a water-based paint, like cat face on it. So that's like that thing right there, the cat
eyes,
face.
yeah.
And I guess we could maybe like read the article about it. So I'm just going to read a little bit about 173J. It's constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint, as well as what appears to be state fair grade water-based face paint in a cat face pattern. SCP-173J is animate and extremely playful. The object cannot move while within direct line of sight. Object is reported to initiate interaction by standing uncomfortably close to subjects. Some personnel have reported low, asthmatic-sounding sniffling noises. These are presumed to be imaginary or mimetic or something. 173J's primary motive seems to be seeking attention. For example, 173J encounters a researcher working on a computer or reading a document, and the researcher blinks. The sculpture will stand on the object in an attempt to gain the researcher's focus. If SCP-173J is in a room possessing a window, it will sometimes take hold of a researcher's head and move it to face the window. This has been construed as 173J earnestly requesting to play outside. The established procedure for handling these situations is to pat SCP-173J in a friendly manner and say, "Run along now, you little scamp." Alright. On July 20th, 1992, 173J appeared wearing a sombrero. The object entered a, quote, fiesta state, in which, according to audio analysis, it produced and rapidly shook a pair of castanets while running in unoccupied rooms or hallways. The origin of this hat-based secondary phenomenon is unknown, but the site director determined that confiscating it or investigating the event in any other way would be, to quote the official directive, interfering with forces beyond our comprehension. Facility 17 staff have reported in official transcripts that this phenomenon was, quote, loads of fun and like Christmas, Cinco de Mayo, and Free Pretzel Day at the cafeteria put together. So yeah, that's 173J. And then in this document they have like logs of it suddenly like just killing someone and then it becomes hostile.
Now he's not a joke anymore.
So now he's not a joke anymore.
I was really seeking retention.
Yeah. Play with me or you'll die. So yeah, I just thought that was really weird, so I would throw that in there. Oh, it used to secrete a brown substance that was chocolate pudding, but now it's just feces and blood.
I like how in the document it says castanets, but those are clearly maracas in the illustration.
Yeah. So this is like from DeviantArt.
Oh.
Can't be trusted. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's funny. All right.
And so and that guy, not his joke form, but his regular form, he's like also the most popular SCP on the SCP Foundation's website. And there's like, I don't know, there's like over 500 of these different entries where people kind of invent a different character. But this guy here is like the most popular one.
Yeah.
And when the game was created, the game's been out for a long time, like
Yeah.
2012. Is that? Did anyone play it like a while ago? Or
Once, maybe.
Yeah. I played it in like Yeah, 3 years ago.
It scared the hell out of me. It stopped, right?
When you played it, I was curious how people found out. Is this the first time people heard about the SCP, or if like they found out? Like for me personally, I found out about half a year ago. I was watching some random Markiplier video, and he was playing not Containment Breach, this game, but a different game based on another character where you just keep going down the stairs again and again and again. And I was like, what the heck is this thing? Like, what is SCP? I'd never heard of this. And then I Googled it and found the website, and then like it was over Thanksgiving, so I was at my parents' and I was a little bored, so I just read through like all the entries. But it was great stuff. And then, but I hadn't played this game. But I was curious, like, where did you guys first hear about SCP, or like, did you, if you did play the game, when?
That's a really good question. I was totally good to remember. I think in my personal circle at the time, so like what, like 2013 or something, people just knew about it. It's kind of like one of those cult classic kind of things, you know?
Because I heard about it from my brother, and it was in like 2013.
Yeah, I have friends that played or read the files in 2013.
Huh. Well, it was a good year for SCP, I guess.
Yeah.
Watch Mojo. I'm serious. That's how I actually did the game.
Had you heard about it before?
No, like I just like watching Watch Mojo on YouTube, and it was like top 10 scariest video games. And I said, what the hell?
Oh.
And that's what it came up.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Like
What was
number,
it? Do you remember?
huh?
What number?
I think this was number 2.
What?
It's
What's
like
number one?
PI ranking.
I think number 2 was Amnesia. Number 1 might be this game.
Well, it's fucking scary, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, I guess I'll just move right along. Alright, so the very next SCP I ran into was harmless. It was a rubber duck. It just jumps around the room when you blink. It was like a corridor, and it had 3 doors, and then there were these like, I don't know, barrels, and then the rubber duck would be on one barrel, then you'd blink and it would be over here, and then it would be over here. And if you got close enough to it, you could hear it playing like a saxophone noise. It's got like a tiny little saxophone just like on the side of it. And apparently there's like 2 other ducks that you can run into, but this is the one I ran into in particular. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing the duck, and like, because usually you're just terrified too, because everything
You're like,
everything wants to
"Oh,
kill
duck!"
you, so like, you don't know if things are harmless or
Yeah.
if they have some weird property that's going to murder you. So I got close to it. I didn't hear the saxophone, but it didn't do anything, so I stayed away from it. But,
Oh, I see.
But I didn't discover the blinking thing.
Oh yeah, you just like looked at it and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
quick. So the first time I played this in 2013, whenever I saw this duck, like 173 guy was like there also. So I thought that the duck meant that 173 is close and you should run away. But
It was like a henchman or something.
just put it there. I'm here.
Little bait.
But no, it's just, there for your enjoyment or terror. The next SCP I ran into was also safe/beneficial. SCP-500. It's just something you can carry in your inventory, and then if you take it, it'll cure you of all disease and ailments. And I found it on like a filing cabinet or something. I had like a gas mask, or no, it was the night vision goggles. And so I was just wearing them because I was like, well, maybe you have to wear these. And then I saw like a bright green thing. It was really tiny on just a cabinet, and then I picked it up, and it was a red pill.
Yeah. And sometimes you do get hurt in the game, like your legs can get hurt and you start walking kind of slow.
Oh yeah.
And you
You
can
can get stabbed.
you can die of blood loss, I think,
Yeah.
but you don't have a life bar or anything, so it kind of gets communicated by your vision gets a little blurry or you have trouble walking,
Yeah.
and then if you take a health pack, or I guess I never got the red pills, but
Yeah, the red pill will just like cure you immediately. You just take it, and you're good. So this is awesome. I was
So
like,
is it like more than one? Is it like a one-time use, or does it come with a
so
bunch?
in the documents they say that there's 47, like in this pill container. So
Mhm.
there's probably like a bunch, just laying around. But I only found one. So yeah, I ended up having to use it because I ran into these SCP-0492 zombies. This is an actual screenshot. So like the rest of these, this is a screenshot that I took. The rest of these are going to be screenshots that I took while I was playing.
Oh, you took this one while you were playing?
Yeah.
Well, that's a risky shot there.
It is. So I would if I ever saw them, I would just save immediately and then go up to them and take a picture, and then they'd attack me and I'd die, and then I'd have to play again. They're reanimated security personnel. You can see they have like surgical incisions.
Right in their chest there. Yeah.
Yep. They're killed and are altered by SCP-49. We'll get to that guy. And they're annoyingly hostile, but weirdly not lethal. Like, I stood there for maybe 5 minutes while they pounded on me. And I
they didn't kill you. Okay.
They didn't kill me. I just lost blood, and then I would like lose consciousness, and then I kind of gained consciousness again, and then I would just be moving really slow, and I was like, when am I gonna die? This is so annoying. It was like not scary anymore. It was just annoying. They were just like moving really slow. And then after 5 minutes, I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna reload.
And these guys are called, you notice they're like 049-2 because these are a variation of, well, they're created by another one, which is a regular 49.
Yes.
So
the next guy I ran into came out of an elevator as I turned the power back on. That was the other screen
this was
that I
such a
took.
terrifying moment. Did anyone else come in contact with this guy? Like,
I saw the video. He had a lot to say.
Just like, I want to surgically
I wanna
alter
hear
you.
Oh, he has dialogue?
No, he doesn't say
Oh.
anything.
he said stuff on. I forgot what he said. He said like.
He's
singing
like,
a
I want to
nursery
cure
rhyme.
you and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, I want to cure you.
I think I did hear that. He wants to cure me.
And then he says some stuff.
He said he wants to be your red pill.
And he certainly was. So pretty much any SCP I ran into, I kind of let it kill me just to see what happened. So this guy killed me upon contact, and then after you're dead, it performs surgery on you and turns you into a zombie. And then when you reanimate, you kind of are still inside your body, but you see yourself going towards these soldiers, and then they are frightened of you and they shoot you, and then you die.
That's cool.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting the ways that you can play out your own death in this game.
Yeah, it's like disturbing because this guy once he touches you, you kind of fall to the ground, and then supposedly he's in the writing, he like opens you up, and he has all these tools. He does some sort of surgery, and then when you come back to life, you're basically like a zombie. But in the game, you kind of fade to black, and then you wake up, and you're walking towards these 3 soldiers who start shooting you. But it's really disturbing because you've lost control of yourself, and it's kind of, you're like already doomed, so you're living out like, you're like forced to live out your death. Yeah, you don't have any control over it. Most of the times in games you just die. It's like, it's over and then you restart. But it was a little like a cutscene, but it feels kind of like it's disgusting to play your own death and have no control over it.
Yeah.
It's frightening because you're trapped there in that reality. You can't escape it.
Yeah, love this guy. It's real fun. Apparently, I think he keeps following you around as you play the game, and so you gotta always look behind you, or never look behind you, and just go really fast.
Yeah, when I came up to him, like, so he really does a nice scare at you. You're coming towards the elevator, and he just pops right out, and he says something like, "I'm gonna cure you," and then, but somehow I got around him and got in the elevator and went up. But then I think he called the elevator. Like, I went all the way to the top, and then, like, the doors like opened and then they shut before I could get out. And they brought me back down and he killed me.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, it was.
So, okay, in this particular room, you can actually, there's like a U shape, so you can run around and go to another elevator that's on the other side, which is what I did. So you got this guy in front of you, and then you got these zombies that are like really slow and they're just kind of walking towards you. So you gotta like turn around from this guy, go around the zombies, they'll maybe like punch you once, and then go to the elevator, and then you're home free.
Yeah.
I never thought of going in the same elevator.
Are the elevators take you to different places though?
Apparently, okay, so
Or they always take you to.
something weird about this game is that it's not, like, the map is not consistent, really. It kind of seems like it loops on itself sometimes.
Yeah.
So I went up the other elevator, and then I was in, like, the same place that this elevator would have gone.
What?
Yeah, it's really weird. And also, I tried, like, going the other way to this elevator, because I thought that the plague doctor was over here. But then he appeared over here, and I was like, oh shit, he's just gonna appear out of any elevator. And so then I had to go around.
That happened to me too. Yeah, because I kept getting murdered by the guy, so I was like, oh, let's go the other way, and then he also popped up there. So the game is somewhat like it has roguelike elements a little bit. Like the maps are somewhat generated. Supposedly every time you play, it's a different experience. Like you'll run into a lot of the same characters and scripted events. Like this event, I think you have to go through.
Yeah.
But the order and the placement of the rooms changes each time.
Yeah.
In like the README or something, there's like instructions on how you can like either add rooms or events.
Wow.
So I assume that there's like discrete rooms that like contain different SCPs, and then discrete events that can happen that may or may not spawn other SCPs. But I didn't look too much into it.
Interesting. Yeah, I think people mod this game a lot.
Yeah.
They make it
Yeah.
really
I haven't.
scary.
Have you guys played another game that does that, where it's like a first-person game where they're procedurally generating different rooms?
Delver, Tower of Guns, maybe.
I personally never.
Strafe.
Except for Minecraft.
Straight. Do those also?
Are they moddable? Probably not.
Yeah. Are those like more like?
They're just like roguelikes
Like-
proper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright. I guess I'll move on to the next guy.
But Amnesia was like, but as a horror game, I hadn't seen it in, because Amnesia is close to this in a lot of ways, but that's much more linear. Like usually you're just going like straight line, and once you can figure out where the guys are, it's a little less scary and you can kind of avoid them.
Part of the scariness of this game is that it's random, so you're like, oh, who am I going to run into? But I don't know. Where does this door lead? It could be different now.
And this,
When I was playing, I got like trapped. I like went down an elevator, and on one, like I followed the path all the way to the end. There's like a Tesla fence where you try to walk through, you just get shocked and die. So I tried to backtrack and go back, but the elevator was like broken and disappeared. So I was just trapped. Like, I couldn't do anything or go anywhere.
so I think the Tesla traps we can walk through. I always got killed by them, but then I watched some videos and like, you know how you get close to it and it like zaps?
Yeah.
If you walk through it right after it zaps, then you can go through it.
No.
Once I learned that, I was like, oh great, so I should have been doing that, because I'd always thought that was an instant death.
Yeah, I thought like you had to find a power switch or something. I was
Oh,
like,
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I just went around it and I found somewhere else to go.
Yeah, like when you first start the game, they show a guy like dying to walk.
Yeah, the guy runs through and gets electrocuted.
yeah.
Because in a lot of strategies, they would talk about this other character who like would kind of bubble up from the ground and slowly walk towards you.
Oh, yeah.
And like the only way to kill this guy is to get him to walk through the Tesla walls.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, I just kept.
So
getting
I
killed.
did run into that guy that just bubbles up from the ground. I went down an elevator, and then when I opened the door, I saw this like pool appear, and then this guy just bubbling up, and I was like, nope, and then I just closed the elevator, and I went right back up to where I was. So I didn't get a picture of that guy, but ran into him too. Alright, moving right along. This is after I escaped the plague doctor. This is SCP-096. It doesn't really have a name, so I just called it Don't Look at Me. It's like the opposite of the main antagonist, where it's docile unless you look at its face. And it's usually covering its face, so like, it's kind of like writhing around, so if you like get a glimpse of its face while it's writhing around, then it'll turn very hostile, it'll run towards you, it unhinges its jaw, and then it just like chomps you in the face and you die. So yeah, the strategy for this guy was like, I would kind of see a glimpse of a white thing from far away, and then I would like look away, and then I'd walk sideways down the corridor. I'd be like, hey guy, and then not looking at it, and then like turn again forward, and then I would like close the door like this. Like you'd be like kind of in the door, and then you can close it from behind you. So that's what
As
I got.
long as you don't look, so you could like look at the ceiling
Yeah.
and he wouldn't see it, or he wouldn't attack you.
But apparently, if you look at a video or a photograph of this guy, not just the guy itself, then he'll also turn hostile and try to find you and kill you.
Oh, wow.
So there's like little pictures sometimes on walls that'll tell you, like SCP-096 is probably one of them, and it has a picture of the SCP on it. So if you look at that, then suddenly he's like, I feel a
He
disturbance,
knows.
and then he'll just
Really?
make his behind towards you.
If you look at the little graphic outside of his room,
There's just a photograph
Yeah,
of
Why
that
would they
picture
put the
either.
picture there?
And now.
yeah, in the documentation, they're like, if you look at a photo, like 2 minutes after you see the photo, he'll start pursuing you.
Yeah.
until you're
It
dead.
never happened to me. I just ran into the guy. And there's also like video surveillance. The first time I played this guy was just like huddled in a corner, and he was in like a contained chamber, and there was a video that was like playing outside that you could look at and kind of like observe him. But if you look at that video, then also he would just like get up and then he'd open the door and then he'd come kill you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this guy sucked. All right, 153 is a rusty cowbell. I found it just suspended in some like fluid. It was like in a weird room. I picked it up and I was like, well, I can't not ring this, so I rang it. And then this like creepy guy, which I didn't ever like. This didn't ever happen to me because I kind of stopped like shortly after this. But apparently after a while, this creepy guy will just follow you around. He's like a stalker. And apparently he's harmless, but he's just like really creepy because he's always following you around.
Yeah, right. He won't
He's
kill
ringing
you.
the bell.
Yeah, maybe he's
a
your
cow.
friend.
He's your scary friend.
So the bell is 513 and the guy is 513-1.
Yeah,
So-
something like that.
They're like connected. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah?
Because the zombies were like the second monitor, yeah, like they're 49 too. Is it
Yeah.
because there's two of them, or why is like this
That's
guy
just how the
one?
documentation
Oh yeah, good question.
said it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's 2 of them.
So
Well, it's because you said 49 was
No,
the
not
plague
specific
doctor.
ones, but
Yeah.
Well, so
Yeah,
why wouldn't
we're
they
just
do
wondering the
49-1?
numbering sequence.
That's
Yeah.
not fair.
They're inconsistent because each
Rude.
one is like made by a fan. Like it's all like a community
So
contribution.
you could be like,
Yeah, so everyone just makes up their own rules essentially.
oh, I like that.
Yeah. Not very consistent, but they're all pretty creepy.
Oh, that's a good. If you go back to that picture, so this is kind of cool because there's like different classes of the SCPs. So this is in the Euclid class. There's also a safe class, like the rubber ducky would be in the safe class, and there's another class called Cachren or
Keter?
Yeah, and that's like super, like that's like Godzilla or something, like a huge evil power. Euclid is very dangerous, but it's more like a localized danger.
Yeah.
The concrete
fatal,
guy is,
Fatal, but only you will die.
Yeah.
Not all of humanity.
Like the Kecker, what is it called? Like a Kecker or Kaken or
What?
the other class?
Keter.
Keter, yeah. So Keter would be like if I had the power to like kill everyone on the planet, like with my mind or something, I would be very dangerous to
Yes.
like the human population.
I don't know if
So
I
I would be in the Keter class if that was.
Yeah.
But if I could only kill like one person and I had to look at them, then I'd be in the Euclid class. If I couldn't kill anyone, then I'd be safe.
Oh.
Oh, so there's only 3 classes.
Only 3.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to backtrack a little bit. Before I even ran into this rubber duck, I ran into SCP-173 twice. So like, I trapped him in a room, and then I like found a key card because you have to find key cards in order to access like restricted doors. And so in the room that I found the key card, like there was another area that I walked towards, and then like all the lights shut off. And then when they turned back on, there were dead bodies on the floor, and then SCP-173 was just like right there. And I was like, oh! And then, so I backtracked again and closed the door, and I was like, I'm never going in that room again. And then, okay. Backtracked to that guy. Next guy I ran into was the teddy bear, which was in a very similar chamber to the rubber duck. It looked the same as the chamber the rubber duck was in, but I think it was different because the doors all led to different places. I think he's harmless. He's not the ear bear that we ran into. It's just a different, just teddy bear.
Yeah.
He wants to give you a drawing, like he's just standing there, and then he's like holding out a piece of paper for you to grab. And I couldn't get a screenshot of the drawing for some reason, but it just said like, I just want to die or something. So you can like take the drawing and you can look at it, and then when you put it away, it just disappears. So he's really creepy teddy bear, just drawing pictures of you dying. And apparently if you I restarted this part a couple times, and the drawing that I got every time was different. So, but you know, of me, I think it was like running away from some rocks. Like in another one, that was really weird, just like childlike, just bloody drawings. This was the very last SCP I ran into, which was a zombie plague. So I just found a chamber where the sign was located, and then I was like, great, zombie plague, probably gonna need my gas mask. I put it on, and then I was about to go into this concealed chamber, and there were like some windows, and I could see into another chamber, and I saw SCP, said 173, it was like right there, and I was like, ah! And then I just closed the game, and I never played again.
A true ending.
A true me getting too scared to play ending. And that's where I ended.
Nice.
Thanks.
So that was my fun experience.
Yeah, I ran into a few more. I ran into this one. There's like so all these SCPs are like contained. Some of them are like just floating around in the world where they'll get spawned in randomly, but others are contained in specific rooms. Let me see if there's a video here of all of them.
Oh, Jesus.
It's
This is a
extra
sculpture.
sexy.
Yeah, we can listen to this. This is just.
How many monsters are there in total? Do you know?
There's like more than 4,000 or 5,000, I think.
Oh.
In the
Like
official
in the game?
But there were
Oh, sorry, yeah, not in the game.
Oh, I see. Registered.
Yeah.
There's a lot
But then
of
in the game.
On the website.
Is it, in the game there's like 50, I think, maybe?
Okay.
Not that many. And there's probably other offshoot games that have other ones.
Right.
But in the official game, there's only like 50.
Yeah, so why don't we'll just play this. So this is someone
No, it's
reading
just the highest
this
rated.
the most popular one, the sculpture guy.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I have it up here too.
Creepypastas.
Yeah, it's very much in the space of the creepypasta.
Hey, not.
Hello there, and welcome back to SCP Readings.
So
This is
reading
Shima
here.
Dawn, and today I'm here to read you a request. DFIR 159632 requested, you should do the one of the moving statue that moves when you blink. That is SCP-173. As always, there is a link in the description so you can follow along as I read. I will only be reading the description, so here we go. Moved to Site 19 in 1993. The origin is as of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within a direct line of sight. Line of sight must not be broken at any time with SCP-173. Personnel assigned to enter container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. The object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from within the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. Origin of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. So basically, if you all have played SCP Containment Breach, which is a free game.
Yeah. So like this is a good example. So all the fiction. This is the website SCP Foundations, and as you mentioned, I think there's like 5,000 of these individual entries, and they all follow kind of the same format. People can kind of riff on the format, but each one gets a number, and then they have to decide what class it's in. So this is in the Euclid class. Then what she was just reading you was the description here. So someone writes a description of like when it was discovered and like what happened there, and then they also talk about the special containment procedures of like how they have to contain it in the space. And then it's got this nice disturbing photo here.
It's creepy.
Jesus.
Oh my god, that's gross.
They just like
And
prom photo.
Draw me like one of your French girls.
You have to close both your eyes at once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So just
thought of
blinking in front of me.
That'll work.
So Andrew, what were some of the other ones you ran into?
what did you run
Let's see.
into? Did you talking about them?
I'm looking for them. Let's see. There was like the one guy, the guy that like bubbles up. So there's this guy that he seems to come randomly when you're just walking around. You'll hear like a sound. The sound design is quite good in the game. It adds a lot of the fear of the game is the sound. But you'll hear like a bubbling sound, or like, and you'll see like some guy's head kind of coming up from the ground, and this guy's whole body comes, and then he'll start walking slowly towards you, and he can walk through walls. And if he touches you, he'll.
Is he still like a liquid person?
No, he looks like if I was like kind of decayed or something.
Oh,
He's
okay.
almost like a zombie. But he'll walk through doors, so I guess he's a bit of a ghost. But if he touches you, he won't kill you, but he warps you to this like extra dimensional plane, and then you're in this like this corridor, this room with like 8 different exits, and you just have to pick randomly which one to go to, and then it'll warp you either into another like almost what looks like some sort of torture den, something out of Hellraiser or something, or they'll warp you to some random place in the facility.
Yeah, this happened to me like 3 times, and I didn't know what was like killing me, but I would just be standing there, and then I would just die, and then I would appear in this chamber, and I was like, what was that thing? And I wouldn't die, so like when you die, it'll tell you how you died and like what SCP killed you. So one time I got into like the hell place, and I just stayed there forever. I didn't die there. So I could never figure out who this fucking guy was. Like he's like trying to kill me.
Yeah, this dude.
But now I know.
So he kind of just looks. He's got like a little shine on him, so he looks like he's wet.
Yeah.
But
He's made of liquid.
he is. He's got a writing quality.
A rotting quality.
His pocket dimension in the game is really cool. It's got like decoy rooms that make you think that you've like escaped and you're back in the facility, but it's just to slow you down because it's like chasing you further in the dimension.
It's like a mirror facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very Freddy.
This is what
Yeah.
it is.
Oh, it is.
This is what he looks like in the documentation.
That's
nice.
creepy.
He's cute.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
comfortable.
Most Tinder dates.
So, what did other people run into that they thought were terrifying or interesting monsters?
I think we both ran into the creature that like imitates human voice. So there's like this dark basement that you go into, and you hear a bunch of people going like, "Hey, who's there?" or like, "Whoa, is that somebody else?" or something. And like if you actually try to investigate the voices, then there's these like huge red 4-legged creatures that just bite your head off. And so you'll just be like they'll like scream randomly or be like, "Hey, who's there?" Like,
But they can hear footsteps, so if you walk near them, they'll stop walking and call out like,
Whoa.
"I need help" or something. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm getting sweaty just like. So you have to crouch. Crouching is an element. I think if you crouch walk, then you won't make any footsteps.
Well, they can
No,
still
he's-
hear you. It's
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just like kind of lowers the chance.
Game's too old.
So when you die and you have to start over, it'll sometimes show you like a little blurb of an SCP that you might run into, like on the loading screen. One of them I saw was just a pair of floodlights that only shine on like a white surface. And I was like, I don't know if these are harmful or not, but they're just floodlights, and that's a monster.
So
Wait,
I watched that because I've cheated and watched everyone. But apparently, like if they hit the right surface to that one, uninstructed, it's that. Yeah, it's them.
It's them.
It's all of them.
So there are people
There's
in there.
more. Oh my god.
No, there's no people in there. It's just like projecting.
Well, I mean, if
already
you go
a
in there,
silhouette. They're already projecting a
They'll
silhouette.
beat you up.
Oh, really?
The shadows
They
will be
disappear
here.
and then
Oh,
they
they're
beat you
just
up.
shadows that
Yeah,
are
like once you go in the room. it's
But they
fine.
call it like femme
Spike
fatale on the door.
Oh.
Oh.
That's pretty
Hello
cool.
there.
Oh.
Shiver. Me too.
Oh, they
Do
talk.
they look at you?
Yeah, they look
Oh.
at you and then it
It's over.
slides out.
He's dead.
Then you just start getting beat up.
Oh, these guys are talking.
Although I guess you can't quite hear it without the
Sind die unsichtbar? Ja.
Alright.
Also, probier aus.
Oh, another cute one.
Probier 420.
The international language.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of keypads that I saw that were like, enter the code, and I never found any codes.
This is a joke SCP number 420J. That's just
that's why it's...
What did it get you?
Coffee.
It gives you any drink that you want.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, you can ask for anything.
But then you die.
What?
Right.
After you drink it?
You die after you drink it?
Wow.
What, is that 420?
Never ran into that one.
I ran into one where there's like this not a manuscript, but a
Oh, like the little
a-
parchment paper?
yeah, it's a parchment.
memo.
In this one here, in the beginning, there's like
Is that a voting booth?
no, it's
It's a multiple guy.
it's a notation for a song. It's a
Score?
The score, yes. It's like a score written down, and then but it's written in people's blood. And if a human person gets in contact with it, they'll be oops. There we go.
Play the song.
So you enter this room, and then there's like a little box here, and on there is like a score, and you're compelled to like walk towards it. So the game kind of takes control from you, and you start moving towards it, and you can try to fight it by going back. But the way this SCP works is like, if someone comes in contact with it, they're compelled to like finish the score using their own blood, and ultimately people like cut their hands off and stuff to prevent themselves from doing that. But so this one's locked away to prevent people. And in fact, on the side right here, there's actually a severed hand of somebody else's, and I thought I was supposed to pick up the severed hand and use it. There's like hand sensors in parts of the game where you need like a DNA reading, and I thought I could use a hand sensor for that, but it never worked. So I'm not sure if there's a different lock.
Were you able to collect the hand?
You were able to collect the hand.
Oh.
But when I tried it on these hand sensors, it said it was the wrong.
So you did have a hand in your inventory. Yeah?
Yes.
Very handy.
Wow.
So the one that I read that was really upsetting was called like the Shy Guy.
Shy Guy.
Oh, that's the
Shy Guy?
the face one.
Yeah, it's like if you look at his face, he starts like crying and screaming.
Oh, yeah, I ran
and then
into
he
that guy.
hunts you forever.
It's beautiful.
Did you make a slide of that guy? Or?
Yeah, the white dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that
Don't look
him?
at me.
Don't
Yeah,
look at me.
Don't look at me.
Shy
I
guy.
ran into that guy, but I didn't
Hi,
make him.
guy.
I like the different names you guys have.
I didn't make him angry, so I think he just stayed there and kind of wept to himself.
There's no pictures. That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the guy I ran into.
Because he looks like that. He
No, you
looks
can take
like
a
the
picture.
pale man from
So you can't
Pan's
take a
Labyrinth.
picture. The way
From
that
the
they-
horror
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
And that
No,
upsets
that's-
me a lot.
That's
He's got the
really
same
weird.
like
Artist
skirt
depiction.
on.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's what he looked like, though. when-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Artist
he gets
depiction.
mad.
Yeah. In the documentation, they're like the way we know
Well,
how
there
the
he
face
just kind of looks
goes
like Jim
is because
Carrey.
Yeah, the mask.
Somebody took
Yeah.
into the marina trench and then look at a photo.
I didn't know he haunted
and
you
dropped it.
forever.
And then the
It's
guy
upsetting.
ran into the marina trench real fast.
Wait, what? Wow.
Oh, I don't like that.
Oh, but if they draw it, then if you look at the drawing, it
Yeah, so
yeah.
in 2 minutes, guys, are in trouble.
But then he ran it like Mach 5 to get to the marina trench.
So self-conscious.
Yeah, because it's like even if you look at a photograph of it or something,
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
know and it can
It'll find you.
it'll find you.
It knows where you are.
So did you show any examples of Keter
Oh, I didn't run into any.
monsters?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
probably
that was
later.
Yeah, I didn't get. What are the Peter monsters?
There's one
The
at the
Keter.
very end
Oh,
of the game.
Keter. Oh,
Yeah. The ones that are like humanity destroying.
Yeah, I wonder if
Those sound
those-
interesting.
Yeah, what if those
I
were
thought the
any-
zombie plague might have been one. but it wasn't.
There's
It
like
was
a big
plague.
dinosaur.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you reach the end.
But, you know, that's kind of tough.
It is very tough.
It's one of the most
He
popular,
nerves
I
of
think,
steel
if you have that
plays.
page open.
Let's see, popular.
It's like 683 or something.
How long did you guys play this game before you?
I played it for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think I went through one run and I was like, no, I don't want to try again.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I played for like an hour and then the game crashed.
Oh.
Yeah, the game crashes a lot. I played it for like 5 hours today and it crashed 4 times.
You played for 5 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
How
Wow,
torturous.
What a trooper.
For real.
Well, I wanted to beat the thing. It was longer than I thought it would be. Like I thought it would just be like a 2-hour romp, but it's a substantial game here. And with the roguelike elements, like you could play it again and again to kind of try to beat it.
Or you could get stuck in the same room for like an hour.
Yeah, it
Be in
felt
that
like
pocket dimension the entire time.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Shit.
Andrew, you said you saw a video of somebody beat it?
Yeah, so there's some
One of the endings is actually really cool.
There's
Like-
multiple endings.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
There's
I mean, I read the Wikipedia, obviously, like I did.
They put a lot of thought
I
into
beat
this.
it like 5 times. But if you manage to escape, they capture you and they say like, wow, we got another SCP. This one has the power to like turn back time. He like knows exactly what's coming ahead of him all the time,
interesting.
right? Because you're like save scumming.
It's meta.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh, cool.
So if you save too much, quick save too much, then
Right.
Yeah, they tag
get
you.
SCP
you get taken back in.
as a save monster.
What about that
Save
ending?
monster.
What about that ending where you go into a tunnel and it's like white, and these 3 soldiers say, like, just look at you after you've escaped the facility and say you've known too much.
Oh, that's an ending.
Yeah, that's an ending.
Apparently, it's like an opposing faction. There's like a secret people opposed to the Foundation. They're like,
Oh, like a
oh,
man.
we can capture this guy because they're gonna kill him otherwise. or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, so in the game you play as there's like different people that work at this facility. So there's like scientists, and there's like high-level research scientists. There's like security guards that work there, and then you play as these Class D employees, and they're basically like
They're like
prisoners or like
turned into test subjects.
yeah, people that are on death row that like have nothing left to live for. They get
Right.
recruited, and they get to be like a test subject to test these SCPs. So you when it starts off, you start in like your cell basically, and they take you out, and they want you to test the concrete sculpture there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why he's the first.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the first Half-Life a little bit, because in the first Half-Life, I don't know if you guys played that, but you play as a Gordon Freeman, who's like basically an employee at this big secret facility that nobody knows about, and they do big experiments. And what you do is like you have to help out for this experiment, and the experiment goes wrong, and then like aliens get warped in from some alternate universe, and then they get from Zen, yeah, and then they get placed like through this huge facility, and then you're just trying to escape the facility. And the plot of this is similar to that in the way you're trying to escape the facility. There's also these kind of alien creatures that have escaped. So I saw a lot of parallels with that. It also worked. The plot of this works really well, like as a game from the SCP universe, because like so SCP you have like 5,000 creatures or characters. Maybe you have a core group of like 20 or like the main canon SCP. So this game like incorporates all of them in one space where you can kind of enjoy learning a little bit about them. Did anyone see the movie Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
That also, like at the end, it's like it's like a facility. Like I think their job is to every 10 years or something, they have to appease like these elder gods who are gonna kill all of humanity unless they sacrifice a bunch of teenagers. And I don't know if you saw it at the end of the movie. They show the facility and like all the creatures are like contained in the space.
Yeah.
That's kind of similar.
I think that was made after this.
That was after, right?
I think it was, yeah. Did this universe remind you of any other things or games like you guys played it or the fiction?
So like the statue thing was pretty similar to the Weeping Angels.
Right. Yeah.
So what was first?
Apparently they were created at the same time.
Oh, really?
What?
And so it was the very first one was the statue. That was like the first SCP, and it was like a 4chan green text, but it was released about the same time that the script for the Weeping Angels, I think, was in production.
Whoa. Yeah.
So the writers are 4chaners, is what you're saying?
They wrote both.
Does the idea exist in any other form?
It might be in some like classic literature. Right?
Yeah, I feel like
believe it's a pretty simple.
I feel like there's an H.P. Lovecraft monster.
Don't
Yeah.
blink.
But they do like, well, at least in Doctor Who, they put like a quantum spin on it, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a.
Yeah, in Doctor Who, there's like science.
Yeah.
It's they're like in some sort of quantum stasis lock, and by looking at it, you're observing it, and by observing it, you're forcing it into a state.
Ah,
But by not observing, it could be in all states simultaneously.
Quantum monster.
Don't blink.
Stressful.
Why don't you blinking? You can just close one eye. Yeah. And open it.
and
And then
they even come out of
Doesn't
TVs,
really work.
right?
Why is it pointing at the...
yeah, but you can't beat the light. Nothing you can do about that.
So it looks like they get away. But
SCP, you don't.
so
The
they
Weeping
must.
Angels also come out of televisions if you're looking at them on a TV. So that's kind of like the Shy Guy characters if you look at his face
I
through
got
a.
the Enderman from the Shy Guy. Enderman? Yeah.
Oh
Minecraft,
yeah,
right?
that makes a lot more sense. It's
Is it-
spindly, yeah.
As soon as you look at his face,
Mhm.
you're under attack.
Oh, Enderman.
Yeah.
Enderman, yeah.
Oh, you haven't heard of the Enderman?
No,
Oh yeah, in
no.
Minecraft.
It's like
Well, that's
Slenderman.
actually-
Oh, and Mike. Oh, this guy. Yeah, he's Enderman.
He's like holding a little block, mind his own business.
Oh, and he was based off the Slenderman.
I see.
Enderman or Slenderman.
Like some
See the
people would
resemblance.
troll other players by like spawning a bunch of Endermans where they play.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty scary creature.
Why are these things so frightening? Like, what's? It's like the unknown, or
They're just so tall and lanky.
The
They don't
lankiness.
reveal a whole lot. They
Yeah.
just look at you.
And the sound they make is like
Slander.
It's like
weird.
a street.
Slenderman, it's like Trump's.
Slenderman.
That's what he typed, Slander.
Slenderman.
It just has a Trump toupee. What about Splenderman?
Splenda, man.
Splenderman.
If you look that up, there actually is a video called Slenderman.
Right.
It's cute.
There's another one, Trenderman. It was a hipster Slenderman.
Gosh.
AKA the Babadook.
It just never
Babadook,
ends.
yeah.
Sexual offender man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just wears a trench coat.
Well, anyway, SCP.
let's see.
Cool. All right.
We did it.
Yeah, so the fiction's really good. So if you are interested in this universe, like this game does a really nice job of kind of showing like a lot of the different characters and really kind of bringing you into the space. On the website here, SCP Foundations, they do have a list of like the most popular, which are worth kind of going through.
And then the most popular are the ones in the game, or ones that get added to the game.
I
Is it-
think like there might be like 5,000 of these things, so like they did pick some of the most popular
Yeah.
ones and ones that work better with like a game.
Does the game keep getting updated with like more, or is it just sort of set?
I think they've been polishing it for a while. It feels like it's pretty finished at this point.
Yeah, you guys talked about how the graphics changed over time.
Yeah.
And how some characters weren't even modeled in the first iteration.
Yeah.
But don't they do different
I don't
SCP games? Like one is like you're constantly going down stairs or
Yeah,
something.
there's other ones with other SCPs in them.
So they
There's other
probably
games.
shift around that atmosphere.
Maybe.
Listed
Let's see.
noticeable.
So, notable, yeah.
It looked like it says
Doesn't
noticeable
Noticeable.
instead of notable.
Hey, there's one.
So containment breach is probably the biggest. This is another one.
I see.
This one is based on one specific SCP, 89, and
I'm already terrified.
It's scary.
Yikes.
Let's turn it up.
You're so close to the screen.
I can't imagine playing this in VR.
No.
5 heart attacks.
Horror game in VR.
Oh, I thought it was like a spiral, the way you described it, but it's just like a hallway.
Just a stairwell.
Just a stairwell. Yeah. Oh dear.
Do you think it's scarier to go down or go up?
well, you start off. So
Serious
Good
go down.
It's scarier to go down, right?
Because going up, you're going to see light eventually. Going down, you're just going to see darkness.
But would it be scarier if you never do?
Oh, yeah, that is scary.
And yeah, if you're being chased up, it's so much more exhausting.
Start breathing heavily.
That's actually just kind of funny because they're both exhausted.
Everyone's miserable.
I guess down you
Is
could
it
slide
better to
down
have
there,
higher
so-
ground or lower ground? I can't tell.
Oh, higher for sure. You jump down.
Oh, this game's fun.
Maybe lower ground because you can slide.
Oh, did you play this one?
no, I watched Markiplier play this one, but you keep going down, and then it the floors change a little bit. Like there's like brick walls, and there is some sort of creature down there, and he kind of like stalks you a little bit. Eventually, you do get kind of murders. But
So you're,
Disco lights are kind of quirky.
so you're getting stalked, but you're like mostly just going downstairs.
right as you get deeper, like the SCP is like this entire stairwell. But there's something in it, and in the story, like they send multiple people down. It's something like they have radios. Like as they get deeper and deeper, like they lose contact with the people, or like people are like they hear stuff, but they never see it, and then people aren't able to get back up top. I think they went down to like level like 800 or something, and then they lost radio.
Okay.
Is this all this is? It's just going downstairs?
Let's see.
How 11 stairs show up?
Stairs.
Oh, let's go downstairs.
Get louder.
Oh, jeez. Oh, you hear weird stuff.
The boredom, it's killing me.
I'm so terrified how bored I am.
It's just a suspense terror.
Well, there's some. Yeah, see, there's like a little.
Oh, there's like no more stairs.
Oh no!
No, there's more stairs.
Oh wait.
What is that? Oh my god.
It's almost over.
It's not fun. It's like a Spider-Man.
So when you play the game, you don't know when he's gonna.
Spider-Man, the relative of Slender Man.
So, just sort of related
What
to
other
this.
noticeable games?
Angie, look up the Escherian stairwell. It's ESCHERIAN.
Oh.
Have you guys seen that?
Asher?
FC
Dude.
Escher.
Ah.
Horror game?
Escher stairwell? Or
Yeah, Escherian stairwell.
Oh, sure.
Firewall.
Stairwell.
Oh. And then
And then you
sharing.
look at videos.
Oh,
Oh yeah, the
Oops, this one.
Oh,
modern.
So what we're doing with this project is
Oh, is this the right one?
You can watch this one, but yeah, there's one that's like directly. Yeah, skip to the video. Like there's a video clip. Sorry, if you still watch that, there's a video clip of it.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
So
Yeah.
what we're
Like
doing
related?
No, go back a little
with this
bit
project is building on
and just go to like the first time you see.
my school, the Rochester
Wait, what?
Institute of
Go like
Technology.
1 minute in this
The
video.
Yeah,
video
yeah,
that's
exactly.
located somewhere in this
Back.
Okay, wait,
Back,
like
back.
30 seconds. I lied.
towards how is it
Yeah,
Where they actually film it.
this architectural marvel called the Escherian stairwell.
Here we are in the Escherian stairwell. Located in Building 7, one of the first structures put up when RIT made the move from downtown Rochester to suburban Henrietta. The stairwell, designed by Filipino architect Rafael Nelson
Oh, that's
Organda.
funny.
Built this thing in the 1960s and just disappeared.
Is
The
that
project
editing?
encompasses a number of
Yeah, it must be.
We're creating a
It's a
fake
little video. It probably just has like
1997
Yeah.
stabilized cameras and fake camera movement.
This 7-minute clip on YouTube that begins in the middle, that in this stairwell, one can ascend to the bottom and descend.
So it's like
Nice.
it's not real, but there's like a ton of random lore on the internet about it, and like videos like that of people like walking through it.
Nice.
Wait, is it an actual illusion? Like, this looked like it was cut.
No, the architecture is built so that it goes around the stairwell to the. It's a ramp. He walks up to a ramp basically.
What? I mean, isn't there kind of like one of those workout machines where you kind of like climb the stair? Kind of like that?
Somewhat, yeah. So they built it, but you don't watch him.
Designed by Filipino architect Rafael Nelson of Uganda.
There's kind of a funny bit where they're like waving to people from the.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, cool.
If you, they had a blueprint or the drawing.
Yeah, once you know the secret, it's no longer.
It
takes all the. What?
I don't know the secret.
Wait. Oh, I have no idea now.
Is the secret not video editing?
Okay, I don't get it then now.
Maybe he's a twin.
That'd be a great way to troll someone.
What is happening?
Oh, now they're gonna pour water downstairs.
What?
They're throwing a ball.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't get it now.
Quite an optical illusion.
I don't get it.
They're all laughing.
Where does that go? Is Rochester?
So it's not. It doesn't really work like that. But they made a bunch of like media material, so that it seems to sort of corroborate itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So there's other people talking about it and then referencing it and then videos people made.
Yeah.
But that's what this reminded me of.
It's cool to build a mystique that way, because you look at the SCP website, like the first few times, you're like, what's this going on? It's like, this like a real thing? Like, is this like FBI docs? Like, what am I looking at? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's based on a true story, kind of like, and it's got like a pseudoscientific like vibe to it.
It takes itself really seriously. Yes. So you come into contact with it, you're like, oh my god.
And it's accessed by unauthorized personnel, strictly prohibited. Perpetrators will be tracked and detained. So you could say this is like this fiction is kind of naturally formulated. Like it wasn't like Paramount Pictures was like, hey, let's do a movie about something that somebody wrote. Like it just kind of just a bunch of people came together and did it.
But I'm guessing like somewhere somebody runs the site and sort of like overlooks the things that get submitted.
Yeah, they're pretty loose about people upvote the popular ones.
So there's a Meet the Staff page under that one.
Apparently it's made by a bunch of Australians.
That makes sense.
Alright, doesn't look too serious.
Oh, it's all screen names.
Classic.
Cool. So it's interesting to see this type of like horror or fiction because it's outside of kind of normal capitalism in a way. Like people do it kind of for fun. Like I don't know how they actually made the Containment breach. Like I'm not sure how it's funded.
It was just a guy.
It was
a hobby project.
It's like a hobby thing, and then I know other people in the community kind of helped him out, but.
It's like an open source project.
Yeah. So like now the graphics aren't like the best in the world.
Which is good. It helps me play it.
Yeah. But
it's not real.
But yes, it's almost like a truer cultural artifact. It's not like biased.
I thought it was really interesting that it's like a roguelike game. I think it came out like kind of at the peak of when like roguelikes were, like the modern platformer or whatever. Like, it came out just after Binding of Isaac and probably around the same time Spelunky was getting popular.
And FLC or
FTL,
popular,
FTL?
What is it? Yeah, FTL.
FC, FLCL.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also cool because like I'd never heard of this in my life, and like I saw some YouTuber playing it, and I was just like, "What is this thing?" And it's a fun little thing to go down the rabbit hole a little bit. You're like, "What is this thing?" And you start reading about them, and because it's all in one universe, like the universe kind of builds on itself. Like when we watch the thing about the concrete guy, that's just one little slice, and each character is like another little slice, and some are related to each other, but they kind of build this giant ecosystem. And then the games, they're just able to build on top of this ecosystem of lore. It's a little like the H.P. Lovecraft stuff. I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan, but this was a science fiction writer that was writing a lot of stuff 100 years ago, and it's all like off copyright. This is the guy that does like the Cthulhu stuff, and I think like if you want to write a story about Cthulhu, like you don't have to. It's off copyright. You can just write about it, and there's no one's going to chase you down and try to say they own the story. So a lot of people write like fan fiction based on that universe.
Fan fiction?
Yeah.
Fan of the public domain.
Yeah. I thought this was kind of a gem when I discovered it.
Yeah. So if the whole thing is just written by fans, then wouldn't it just be regular fiction and not fan fiction?
Yes.
Fans fiction?
Collaborative fiction.
Yeah.
Fiction made by
because it all
fans.
counts, right?
Because there's no there's no singular creator, so there's no one to be a fan of. Right?
Yeah.
At least we didn't play Outlast.
Violent.
Yeah.
People, yeah. Well.
Andrew, you good?
Yeah. SCP. So,
do you want to? Do you have a final word?
Do we have any other recommendations of frightening game? What's everyone's most frightening game like?
This is like the most frightening game.
This
that I would actually play.
Anything in VR that is horror.
Like Slenderman VR?
No, I don't even.
I'm just imagining this game being in VR, just like. No.
Yeah, pity the engine is so like busted.
Yeah, it's a pity.
Yeah.
What's your favorite SCP?
Monster?
Monster.
Rubber Ducky seems pretty cool.
I want to hear more about that ear bear.
Yeah. I didn't run into Ear Bear, but I feel like he would be my favorite. Just because he's so weird. I also ran into an SCP that it was invisible. And
what?
So I ran into this chamber, and it was like, you feel a presence, but you can't see anything.
Interesting.
And then I kept walking, and then I got another message that said, you can feel something breathing in your ear. And then I looked over, there's nothing there, and then I just died. So I got there's some invisible monster.
That's your favorite.
That's my favorite. I think you can see it if you wear night vision goggles or something. I'll read about it later.
I found a really similar one in the game called like the peripheral jumper or something, but like if you like turn around too fast or blink too rapidly, then it like some monster appears, but it doesn't ever hurt you. It just scares the bejesus out of you.
That one actually has a cool page about it. It like has a sixth sense where it can sense when people's muscles activate, so it can always get out of the way of you trying to look at it because it knows immediately like when it needs to move. Yeah.
Crazy.
So tell us about this. I'll pick this one. So this one was in the game, and there was a touchpad. So it looks like a normal coffee machine, but you can request any type of liquid. You have to pay money for it, but you put your 50 cents in, and then
so you have to find money and then
you
put it in?
Yeah, you put your 50 cents in, and then it'll give you any liquid that you can say. So everything from water, coffee, beer, soda, to non-consumable liquids such as like sulfuric acid, wiper fluid, motor oil, as well as substances that do not usually exist in a liquid state, such as like nitrogen or iron, or gold. You could ask for like liquid gold.
I was gonna say this thing prints money.
The test runs with solid materials such as diamond failed though. However, it appears that SCP can only deliver substances that can exist in a liquid state at some point. Yeah, so diamonds don't
So
ever
then you
liquefy.
can drink it and then you die.
Yeah.
But if you're just getting liquid gold, like you don't want to drink it anyway.
True, but if you want to drink a soda, like
Oh, what
or
happened when
water.
you ask for a cup of Joe?
Definitely water.
Blood tissue.
Oh, no.
fluids.
Certain brands.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, so, yeah. So these are like little entries. Like people did different things. So,
Yeah,
so researchers punched in to request a cup of gold.
Yeah.
The machine dispensed a cup of molten gold. Researchers requested the similar precious metals, and they got the same result. I think. Yeah. Did somebody ask for a cup of Joe?
Cup of anti-water?
Yeah, it was up.
Oh, it was up.
Yeah, it's the
Somebody-
top one.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, cup of Joe. Yeah. Ancient Joseph. Oh, so these are like these black things are redacted materials. So there's two
Yeah.
It's too secretive to show that.
Are they not clickable? Like spoiler alerts?
I think it's nothing. You can't even read it.
Okay.
It's just the last
It's a
name of
black
the
bar.
agent.
Yeah. So they asked Agent Joseph attempts to use the coffee machine during his allocated break because of course they're using it as a coffee machine.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh no.
at the request of another agent to see what it would do, and he requested a cup of joe from the item. The moment after confirming the selection, Agent Joseph began to sweat profusely and complaining about dizziness before collapsing. After moving the unconscious agent to the infirmary, the medical team recovered the contents of the cup dispensed from SCP-294. It was a combination of blood, tissue, and other bodily fluids. Testing revealed the DNA sequence of the biological material dispensed from SCP-249 matched that of Agent Joe.
Whoa.
So he was like drinking his own
It was a cup
DNA.
of Joe.
It was somehow like warped.
Warped a little bit of him out of it.
I
It
get
was a
it.
cup of Joe.
That's gross. Okay, scroll down because I saw
That's why they leave Agent Joseph.
Okay. Addendum.
Why can't you ask for a cup of
294J.
Michael?
Yeah.
294J. Keep going up.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, here we go.
Researcher punched in a request for a cup of anti-water. Machine hummed briefly, then displayed out of range on entry pad. It is theorized that SCP-294 has a limited range of collection and cannot reach into the alternative universe.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, SCP. So check it out, guys. Woo!
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Next month we're doing Cuphead.
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 Yeah.
No
I
one's gonna
think.
be able to beat it.
Yeah.
Is that a challenge?
So I'm going to talk to Buford, and it would be cool to try to play Cuphead here and see how far we can get to.
Okay.
Yeah, try to do like a boss run, like a speed run.
Do you think you could do a speedrun?
I would sure try.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
I played it a little bit and I died on, I think, the third level.
Like the potato head? The potato? Or...
No, I got past the vegetable. It's like the frogs, I think.
Oh,
I think the
man.
frogs was third.
Yeah, but Cuphead is like known to be like exceptionally brutal and unforgiving, but in a really good way. Like
it's beautiful, so I think that the charm is in the animation.
Yeah, and it's all drawn frame by frame,
Yeah.
which is even crazier.
Hand drawn, actual watercolor.
Oh,
scanning.
really?
Yeah.
It's not digital at all?
The backgrounds are watercolor.
That's
Scanned
Well,
watercolor.
backgrounds I can understand.
There's a pretty good GDC talk by one of the animators, and he was saying like one of the nice things about working in this era is that the cartoons were like so like bonkers that like you don't have to have a reason why things are. Like you can design a mechanic and then decide what's happening after it. Like, and he was like saying like you have a flower and then the flower shoots bees and the bees turn into bee ghosts and the bee ghosts shoot lightning. Like it doesn't matter.
right.
Because in like the
universe
19
is already crazy.
Yeah, the 1920s and 30s, if you like watch those cartoons, it's like skeletons drinking out of themselves and dancing ghosts and like nothing really there's no like way to really break any sort of like